Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Spartan Standard, where Main Street meets mastery. I'm your host, Mark R. Moore, CEO of Spartan Cafe. Tonight's episode features two incredible members of our Spartan Cafe community who truly embody the entrepreneurial spirit. Our guest, Stacey Lauridia, CEO and founder of StayWell Global, turned personal tragedy into a global wellness movement that's transforming lives. Joining me, my co-host John Marcelin, or in this case his nickname Harold, um, a licensed property adjuster and trusted industry expert whose precision and insight always change the game. And with that, I'd like to say hello to everybody. And John,
Hi
just
guys.
Yes.
introduce yourself.
Hey, so my name's John Harold Marcelin. As Mark said, I'm a licensed property adjuster. I've been traveling for the last, I'll say since 2017. Most of the storms that you've seen on the news, I've traveled to those sites and I pretty much help people get funding for their homes according to their policy limits and stuff like that. I'm into everything insurance, so I also am licensed life insurance. So as well as helping people protect their homes when, unfortunately, I have to give them news of them not being covered when they need it. I'm doing the same thing for people in their life insurance because they just don't know that they need the coverage. So it's been great because it's information that is absolutely needed, like air and water, and I've been able to help a whole lot of people, get that stress off of their shoulders of what's going to happen for them in the future.
Stacey.
Very helpful and useful for sure. Yeah.
Yep.
So, my name is Stacey Lauridia, and I've been in the supplement industry since my 20s, so 5 years ago or 30, um, somewhere in between. Um, and was a formulator and kind of a white label manufacturer for years, worked for a bunch of different brands, and just wanted to do things differently and wanted to create, with my partners, just a product line that we could be proud of with more integrity. Um, Not that the bottom line doesn't matter, because of course it does in any business, any industry, but we realized that the bottom line could still be hugely prosperous. um, and with that, still be able to do things the way that we should be doing, and with clean ingredients and no plastic. Um, just basically products that people can trust, and know that they're clean and that they're made well and that we did the right thing. So the only way to do that is to do it yourselves, because none of the other brands seem to care that much, to be honest. So
So Stace, along those lines, your brand, StayWell Global, StayWell Products. You have a number of different products. What's your sort of origin? Like, what's your sort of quick background in terms
well,
of what did you do before this, and then how did that lead you to starting StayWell?
just to kind of wrap it up, like I was saying, I formulated for other brands. There was a brand that I was contracted with back in 2012, and it was a company in Asia, and they contracted me to formulate their immune supplement, and it was a huge company. And they had sent me some research on a specific ingredient, a raw ingredient that they wanted to use, and I hadn't heard about it before. So I dove in and did the research and realized it was a heavily researched raw ingredient that was amazing for building your own immune system, for cancer recurrence prevention, and for cold and flu, to shorten the duration of cold and flu, and basically any ailment, because it helps your own immune system to fight any invaders. It's almost like an immune system trainer. So um, with that, I got a license from the manufacturer of the raw ingredient, and I started using that for this company back in 2012. Um, it didn't last very long, that contract, because much like everything else, they decided to stop manufacturing in the United States, manufacture it in China instead, because it was a lot cheaper. They stopped using that great ingredient and they used something cheaper once they already had their client base built up with what we had formulated for them. So at that time, I was really, perturbed, to say the least, that they did that. But There's always a reason for everything, and sometimes you don't realize it at the time, but the reason was that I learned about this raw ingredient that was amazing and that can help people. So because of that, I'm forever grateful for that company, and for the chance to work with them on that formulation. So that was in 2012. And then 4 years later, my brother was diagnosed with colon cancer, and it was fast and furious. He was septic, his tumor was shedding into his body, and he, basically was deemed terminal. They gave him a life sentence basically to hospice, kind of gave him the boot from the hospital and said that they wouldn't treat him. So I just kind of jumped into action mode. I brought him up to Yale instead. Yale said that they would treat him. Um, so in the meantime, I just gave him my regimen, like a whole protocol of things to boost his own immune system, including that one ingredient that I had known about. Um, I called the actual formulator, the scientist who did the extraction, and I called and said, listen, I had formulated, I got your raw ingredient to be at one of the biggest manufacturers here in the United States. And my brother's really sick. Do you have anything stronger? And they did. And so they had a more bioavailable, purified version of the one that I was formulating before. And I started giving my brother high doses of that because after doing all the research, I realized in other countries, they're injecting that into patients in large doses, for immunity after surgery, for cancer prevention, for reoccurrence, and all of that. So I started buying just that raw ingredient back then, and that was in 2016. And
Okay.
so I've been using it ever since. And both of my partners had cancer, and I was giving it to them. I was just
Okay,
buying it to
Stacey,
give to
if I
people
can
I love.
interrupt just a second,
Yeah.
because you brought up your partners a couple of times. Talk to me about your partnership. How did
Yeah.
that come together? How did that formulate?
So
And
So
and
during COVID world, I stopped working in the supplement industry because the supply chain basically shut down. And you guys are business owners, so when something's happening in the world that affects, especially COVID with supply chain, and affected my industry. So I wasn't working in that industry for a while. I was doing some other things. And then I decided to get back into it. And my two friends, Doreen and Justine, who had both had cancer at different times, and then were with me through COVID, where I was giving this raw ingredient to everybody, and nobody was getting sick. And Justine had lost her husband to cancer, and while he was sick and he was in the hospital, he was a smoker. He had lung cancer. It was terrible. But while she was there, I mean, she was in the hospital with him every day, and it was COVID world, and it was awful. And there were signs on every door, like every single ailment known to man. You had to suit up to go in there. She wouldn't even suit up. They said, don't touch him. She would kiss him on the face. She would lay down and snuggle with him. And she was taking the ingredients that I was giving her every day. So when I said I needed to go back to work in the industry, it was the two of them that said, we need to bring this to market. We're not getting sick. Other people are. It's not fair that we know about this and other people don't. And not that it's nothing like a secret ingredient. I mean, it's been out there. There's hundreds of thousands of studies done on this ingredient, but people here don't really know about it. So they were the catalyst to say, let's launch our own super immune product, bring it to market, and let people know about it. So that was the catalyst of starting this.
I mean, we've heard so many stories over the years, right? I mean, who hasn't been touched by cancer in some way with their family
Right.
member? Everyone knows someone. And I'm not the first to say this. Won't be the last. I mean, it's such a horrible
It's horrible.
scourge,
Yeah.
right?
And my best friend is going through it right now. So, I'm giving her bundles of the raw ingredient too, to just build her immune system to get through the battle. And we're not saying that it cures cancer, but when you have cancer, you need to stay strong. Your immune system needs to be strong to fight it. And if your immune system was strong to begin with, you might not get it, right? So that's the point. And to try to build people's immune systems naturally through these amazing ingredients and not putting them in plastic, so lowering
We're going to
any
get to
exposure to
that.
plastic is
Hold
helpful.
that for a second. We're going to get to that because I know Harold's got a lot of experience with supplementation. He does a lot of work on his own. He's done a lot of research. So I
Mhm.
know this must be something. I know all three of us have met with each other Full disclosure, we're all very close, and we work with each other on a lot of things. But I know that Harold and I talk a lot, and I know that he works a lot with natural ingredients, supplementation. So, Harold, first, will you talk a little bit about your journey with that, and then do you have any questions for Stacey about her product, any specifics at all?
No, I just need to start studying your products because my journey on the health started. I went to New York Institute, New York Tech City Technical College in Brooklyn on J Street, and this was around the time when they allowed uh, different studies. Well, to be specific, this when they started allowing African studies to be an elective, so you can get credit. So I went into the classroom, and the teacher, I mean, for the fact that he just stumbled into his classroom, he taught me, history, great history, but then he went in depth with different teas and leaves, that along with the history of voodoo, which is medicines, he went and was saying the kind of medicines and herbs that they used to heal people.
Mm-hmm.
These medicines and herbs are around now. So he taught me everything. And my father, this is back in 1990, my father and I took the journey. My sister and my mom wasn't having it. But for those 2 years that we took that journey, and I mean, this is raw, like early creatine raw. So the
Yeah.
tea was nasty. You couldn't put, it wasn't any kind of sweetener or lemon
Take your
juice.
medicine.
Worse. But my father and I weren't sick for 2 straight years
Yeah.
behind using that. So then, as I'm thinking, because it started to get not boring, but there's got to be more to this, I started juicing wrongly because I was doing fruit. And when I
So
found
the
out,
sugar, yeah.
it was killing
Yeah.
me. It gave me a kidney shock, liver shock is what they said, where the food wasn't going to my bowels, and I was getting this crazy muffin top, but the rest of my body was
Because when you're juicing a food, so the nutrients in fruit are great, right? But our bodies were meant to break things down. And so if you're just drinking it, your body's not doing the work to break it down. It's
nope,
definitely
straight
not
shot,
great.
straight shot to the blood.
Right.
So I found that
Insulin spikes.
it took. I was doing so. That's 90. I figured I would started juicing and breaking blenders at 95, and it took 2000 shit. What 2020? That I finally found a holistic doctor, and she was like, "Man, what are you doing with yourself?" And she let me know, but it all then me and her and I still compare notes based on what I've learned from back then. So I will be having some questions for you, and some idea we could definitely talk forever on it, but that's what started my journey on the health. And I'm a results driven kind of guy, so
Yeah. Really,
it's
that's the most important thing.
yep.
And, to be honest, again, I stumbled upon it because of that company that I was contracted with, which is a huge company. I won't mention the name, but I am thankful to them for that. Um, but it is, you can read all the research studies in the world, you can formulate based on research, but when you start getting testimonials from people, like saying that it's a game changer and it's helped their lives, and I have so many people. My one friend, before it was even to market, when we just had samples in, I had given it to him. He was going on a cruise, everybody on the cruise was sick, he was taking it for a week before he went. He and his family were the only ones that didn't get sick. So there's so many stories like that. And even through COVID, I mean, I was taking it, my kids were taking it, my husband was not taking it because he's one of those people that wasn't really a believer. Um and COVID came, we were all worked in Manhattan, right? And COVID came through in March of 2020, and everybody in the practice got sick. My husband had it. He was sick for 8 months. My boys and I, we all were exposed. We all had it, but we were taking the supplements and we were completely fine. My husband wasn't. He was sick for a really long time. Now he's a believer and now he takes it all the time.
By the
But
way, first of all, full disclosure, I'm a user and a believer, right?
yeah,
So
I
I
need to
take
follow that.
both. I take both supplements every morning religiously. I've been doing it now for about 6 months.
Yeah.
And just to give you a quick background, right? So I'm a strength coach, a licensed, early certified strength coach and athletic trainer. I've trained people since the 90s. I've been in and around the fitness world for a very, very long time, teach martial arts, the whole thing, right? And so, as you can imagine, I'm surrounded with supplements all the time. And people always have these questions about supplements. I will say that for me, I'm kind of a one or two supplements type person.
Mhm.
There's just a few that I will take religiously. StayWell products, absolutely, without question. But I have a question for you. I have a lot of friends, and I run into a lot of people who swear by all the ingredients that the StayWell products use.
Mhm.
But because they're sort of, I guess you want to call, I would call them purists.
Right.
They're more into, they want to find the specific root or the specific thing and just take that. How would you communicate
So
the
it
viability of StayWell products to someone like that?
so it's really that's a really good point, and it's really interesting that you just brought that up because um when I was creating this, well, especially for relax, well, both, right? So super immune and relax. So super immune, has what they call like the holy trinity, right? Like it's C, D, and zinc together, which everybody thinks of for immune, right? So C, D, zinc, elderberry, we put those ingredients together because every immune product has to have them because those ingredients are effective. And we were trying to for just for ease of use to not have people have to take so many supplements. We knew that we wanted to combine this ingredient called hobamine, which most people don't know about yet, which helps you on a cellular level, and the beta-glucan, the specific extract of beta-glucan. But specific studies were done on the combination of beta-glucan and C, beta-glucan and D. Like beta-glucan and D together are a powerhouse combination. So it took a while for us to figure out, like, yes, this product is going to be expensive because we're combining all in one. But if you look at it as an all in one, if people were taking all of those ingredients separately, it's actually a lot more expensive. And we're using the best of the best of the raw ingredients. So the product Relax, um, that also was formulated like out of a labor of love. And then we decided to bring it to the masses to help people. Most people today know what ashwagandha is. They know what L-theanine and how great that is. Magnesium, almost everybody, 90% of people are magnesium deficient, right? So we knew that everybody was taking those separately, but putting them together in a symbiotic blend the way that we did, it's interesting. I just had a call the other day from somebody, and she said she was taking every single one of those raw ingredients for years separately. And she said she never felt as great as she does taking ours. You're taking it at the same time. You're taking it, if you take it before bed and it's absorbed through your whole system, the gut brain connection is huge, right? And if you want to lower cortisol, um, you need to get your gut
Whoa,
in
whoa,
check.
whoa! Back up, time out.
Yeah.
I'm cutting you off. But now you're talking about something that's super close to my heart. When you talk about cortisol, the fitness world, it's huge.
Yes.
Guys, whether you're getting ready for a competition, if you're a bodybuilder, a fitness
Right.
professional, or if you're an athlete,
Right.
talk to us about
So
cortisol.
it's crazy because, when I formulated that I formulated for somebody that I love that was going through a really hard time. And it was during COVID world, and, the world was shut down, and tried to get him to, a psychiatrist and to a therapist, and they put him on meds, and he didn't like the way he felt on the meds. And so kind of went to my group of tried and true, like the formulators, the scientists, the doctors, and a psychologist, and we put this regimen together. Um, and that regimen is what is now Relax. But when I brought it to market, it was for people who were struggling with anxiety, depression, and stress, right? And I was thinking, um, typical male demographic from 18 to 28, right? Because those are the people who have the toughest time because they're not articulating what they're feeling, right? And they hold everything in, they bottle it in, they're drinking a lot of caffeine, they have a lot of central nervous stimulants, they're not taking care of their gut health. Like, so in my mind, I wanted to market it towards those people, like that demographic specifically. But it's interesting to see. the people who are reordering like religiously and the people who are screaming it from the rooftops are the athletes. So one of my son's best friends is a football player in college. Like, he takes it religiously. He travels with it. It's by his bedside. His mom took a picture. It's like in his dorm right by his bed. He was leaving for college and he was like, I can't leave without it. So they forgot to order it on time. So I gave it to them. My other son's friend is a jiu-jitsu competitor, and I gave him some for Christmas. He was taking it for months. He didn't reorder because he's 24, and he was like, I don't have the money for that. It's $2 a day. You spend Starbucks $8 a day. So anyway, I ran into him at the gym. I was telling Mark this story. I ran into him at the gym, and he said, I was competing for months while I was taking relax. I ran out, didn't have any. He said, you don't realize how much something is helping you until you stop. And he said, because he's always struggled with stress and anxiety. And then he was taking it, he was feeling great, and he was doing great at the competitions. And then he stopped because he didn't want to buy it. And he didn't come over to my house to ask me for any. And he said he was at the competition. His stomach was a mess. His performance was awful. And he said, I will never, ever be without it again, because he
Let me
said,
just
I
jump in
will
there, Stacey.
support
And I'm
athletes, both products, but especially Relax. I mean, I thought it was just for people who are suffering from stress, depression, anxiety, and everyday stress. And really, there's a lot of people in that category that could benefit from it. But the athletes are the ones that really notice it because they have to dial in, and stress can either make or break you on competition day.
let me just jump in on that and this
Yeah.
is a testimonial for myself personally. I do a lot of strength training, but what happens is obviously when you're running a business, it's very easy to get off track. Maybe you go 2-3 weeks, sometimes a couple of months without working out, without training. I will say though that um, I still will take my supplements and I will still eat cleanly, consistently, even when I'm not training, right? So weeks can go by. And I'll tell you something, and Harold's heard me say this a million times. Man, I went to work out. It's been 8 weeks. I've lost no strength.
That's
My
amazing.
strength is right. How often am I talking about that? My strength. I mean, endurance is a little bit lacking because it's time. But in terms of muscle memory, and I got to say, now look, full disclosure, look, I take uh, a certain form of creatine, monohydrate. I
And
will
we have
take
like an amazing creatine coming soon. Better
yes,
absorption than any on the market.
outstanding,
Yeah.
outstanding. Anyway, I just needed to throw that in there because we're over here listening to
Both
the creator.
products are great for exactly what you're talking about. So the Relax, of course, GABA and the results for fitness, and almost all people take GABA in the fitness industry also. So the GABA, ashwagandha, L-theanine, all that is great for stress, but it's also great for bodybuilders or for any kind of athletes. And then the beta-glucan that we use, our specific extract, if you do the research on that, it also helps with any kind of the micro tears. So if you're working out and you're building muscle, what is that? It helps with recovery after
Recovery.
workouts. It helps respiratory ailments for runners. I mean, it's been heavily studied for working out as well, even though it's an immune product.
Now,
It really is.
in doing what you brought up research. I know you guys done some research, and I know that you also have, and you'll have to correct me if I'm saying it wrong, but you also have a sort of partner site called Doctors Research Guide.
Yes.
We
Yeah.
talk a little bit about
So
that.
yeah, so we wanted to have a site that if Harold, if you were talking to your holistic friend, holistic practitioner, or a doctor, or I have a lot of friends, like even when my brother had cancer, um, I said to the oncologist, and this was, by the way, the oncologist that said he should go to hospice and not treat him, but she's an oncologist at a major hospital here. And I said, I'm going to put him on a regimen. She asked what, when I mentioned beta glucan, she had never heard of it. And I was thinking, how is this like, how is this an oncologist that has never heard about an ingredient that's used specifically to help people with cancer almost everywhere else in the world? And so at that time, this was 2016, there was no place for her to just go like into one place and find what the research said about this ingredient. So it was really important for me to create Doctor's Research Guide as a place with no sales of any product, just research on ingredients that if you went to your oncologist and said, hey, I'm thinking about using this, that the doctor or a layperson also can go, but that they can go and read, they could take a deep dive and read actual research studies, or they could just kind of peruse and see what the ingredients do, what they're about, where they come from. And if they want, like if it's a doctor that's really interested in the research, they can kind of click on all the links and read the studies. So that was important, without any sales of any product, just information.
Wow.
And that's
And you're also associated with a particular doctor, right? Dr. Rahman, I'm correct? I
oh my
believe?
gosh, we're so happy that we have him. So our medical director, Dr. Rahman, um, he's a practicing pediatrician. He's been a pediatrician in Wellington, Florida for 26 plus years. He's also dual certified holistic practitioner, and his background was science of nutrition from Cornell. So he's like the perfect combination of, let's try to figure out how to keep people healthy and keep people on the right track to staying well. And then, yes, if you get sick and you need medicine, you take the medicine. It's, this whole world, the way things are right now with the dichotomy of like right versus left, pharma versus supplements, like health shouldn't be political, right? And it should just be that, supplements should be used to try to help you to stay well. But then if you do need to take medicine, we're not saying not to. And
Mm-hmm.
so it was really important to find a medical director that was on the same page with us. We're not the enemies of pharma. My brother had cancer. He still needed chemo. He was dying. If he didn't have radiation, he never would have made it. He was actively dying. The radiation stopped the tumor from bleeding. So I'm not saying anti-medicine. However, the supplements helped him to be strong enough to tolerate the treatments. So they could be used together. And it was important for us. We didn't want just a holistic practitioner. We didn't want just a medical doctor. We wanted somebody that was dual certified. And he is the most like perfect medical director that we could have ever hoped for, because he's so well versed in supplements and in formulation. And he knows, nobody knows the body system better. And so he is now formulating. We're working together right now. We already have the formula ready for the children's immune. We have gut health. We have a specific creatine, a nano emulsion, and it's proprietary, it's patent protected, and we have the rights to use that. So we have a lot of things coming out of the pipe next. We're looking to raise money to do that because we're self-funding.
Along those lines. Okay, along those lines. So you are currently in a funding raise. Now, before you answer that, you're on the market now, right? You're currently selling the products now?
Yes, yeah.
Okay.
So we
And
have
then
inventory of the first two, but we want to bring to market the children's, the gut health, the creatine. We have a lot that we want to bring to market. But now we need to take on investors. We're self-funded up to this point.
okay. So, and everyone, just before we go further, you'll find the StayWell website and the doctor's research guide in the description of this video. And a link to all the products. On average, what is the average selling price from the lowest to the highest with regard to your supplements? And how does that compare to the typical popular supplements that are out there now?
So Relax, just for instance, is $57 retail price, which it's funny because again, it's less than $2 a day, right? For a month's supply of Relax. And if you look at the ingredients that we're using in it, if it's funny because one of my close friends, actually, I was at her house a couple of months ago and I brought her over a gift and I brought her a bottle of Relax. She has a lot of stress. And she said, oh, she looked at the back of the bottle and then she opened up her cabinet and she said, oh, my therapist has me on all of these supplements anyway. And she opened it up. She was taking three out of the 6 ingredients that are in Relax. And she said, well, how much do you sell this for? And I said, $57. And she's like, oh my God, that's so expensive. I would never be able to buy that. But she was spending $22 on each of the 3 ingredients a month that she was taking that are in our product. And we have 6. And the ashwagandha she was taking, like we use Sensoril, which is the most expensive one. Everything that we use is top notch. And hers was in plastic. Some of it was in black plastic, which is the most dangerous plastic. But I looked at her and I said, you're spending more than the $57 on these 3 ingredients, and we have 6, and our blend is better. We're made at a GMP facility here in the United States. It's not manufactured in China. I mean, you can eat off the floor in the manufacturing facility that we use, and the protocol for the integrity of the product is so much higher. They pull things mid-run, and they'll run the certificate of analysis on it, and everything is on point. I mean, we're using the best of the best manufacturers. She's getting
Isn't
it
that
from China.
interesting
And
though,
so the
Stacey?
price point is great.
Isn't that interesting? People think they're getting a deal because a supplement costs $20, but they have 6 or 7 different supplements.
Right. And it's garbage. If it's, I'm sorry. And I don't want to be one of those people, but if it's made in China, they don't have the same regulations that we have
Well,
here. And
speak the
so
truth. That's
you
right.
just don't know what's in it. You don't even know. Even on Amazon, people are buying products and there's counterfeits, like actual name brands like Nature's Bounty or whatever. There's counterfeit products that are out there. You really can't trust anything anymore, sadly.
Well,
And so,
especially in the supplement world, because
yeah,
regulation is not like a medication. You have to go through all the different levels. When it comes to supplements, you can have virtually almost anything.
right. And then you have to be careful too. And the reason why we did Doctor's Research Guide, um, it drives me crazy because I come from a research background. That is my background. And when I see things that'll say like research backed, and then I click on it and I'm like, where's the study? And then the study's like 6 people,
Yeah.
like in some guy's house. Like that's not a real research study.
Mm-mm.
So it's really important to me to build the Doctor's Research Guide so people can actually see like these ingredients are really researched, double blind, placebo studied, peer reviewed, NIH, Columbia, Harvard, like, we're not talking like somebody's basement. And it is made here in the United States and it's at a GMP facility. But so the price point at $57 for Relax, I don't know. I think
I think
compared
it's a
to what
steal.
the raw ingredients
Ultimately,
are,
it's
or
a
just,
steal.
yeah, it's a steal. It's $2 a day to have your mental health in check and to have your stress regulated and your cortisol lowered and you're sleeping better, you're performing better. And then the same with immune. So the immune is 67, which seems like a high price point, but just the raw ingredient that we're using, the beta-glucan and hobamine alone is extremely expensive. But what does it cost for you to miss a few days of work because you're sick? And when you're taking this and you're not getting sick, what is
And
that worth,
and
right?
Stacey, you have proof of concept here. I'm not just blowing sunshine. You have proof of concept. You have tons of loyal, repeat customers. I know because I've seen it myself, including myself. You have repeat customers from the day that you guys started that keep coming back. So the price is justified
Mm-hmm.
Right.
from my perspective.
Right.
I think the
Well,
price
and
is
it's justified because what the ingredients that we're using are extremely expensive. Like it was worth it to us. We wanted to do things right. We wanted to bring the best ingredients to market. And, in order to do that, we're not getting junk, right? We're getting like the real deal. And so it's expensive, but it's not expensive if you break it down per day, what people are spending on Monster energy drinks or garbage or like things that hurt them. It's, $2 a day to stay well, to me is worth it.
now for clarity's sake. I know that you also don't use plastics of any kind or anything like that. Can you
Right.
talk a little bit about that?
Yeah. So that was another big thing for me. And one of the reasons why I decided not to work for another company again, because I've been formulating since I'm in my 20s and for other companies, right? So I was kind of like the ghost writer, like for people that wanted to launch products. And everything was always been in plastic. And there is amber glass, which is great. Not that many brands are using it. More should be using it. There's no reason that people need to run supplements in plastic. There's just not. Um,
Agreed.
Glass is recyclable. Aluminum is infinitely recyclable. People are afraid of aluminum because they think, the cancer risk. But now there are healthy, clean coatings for aluminum cans. More people are aware of that now. I get the fear for that. But glass, there's no transfer. There's no, it of anything. The integrity of the product stays clean in the glass. The plastic, however, stick something with citric acid in it on a hot tarmac in a plastic
Mm-hmm.
bottle, it's going to leach. And we all have microplastics in us. It's in our blood, it's in our brains, it's in our, I mean, every test now is showing they just a study came out on placentas, and almost every single placenta that came out of a pregnant woman had microplastics in it. It's crossed the blood-brain barrier. I mean, it's really, we're in trouble. Callie
You
and
know,
PCBs were just talking
can I
about.
can I jump into, and I'd like
Yeah,
you to share. You don't have
yeah.
to, obviously, please. You don't have to share names or anything like that. But I know, because I know that you're also in the process of raising money,
Hmm.
uh, raising capital for the company. But I know that there was a time when someone was willing to offer you a relatively significant amount of money,
Hmm.
but and you can fill out this, you can fulfill the story. But they were like, well, look, forget the plastics thing. Let's do it this way. Let's do it this
Right.
way. Can you fill us in on that story? I mean,
Yeah.
give an overview.
Yeah, so it was one of the investors, great person, great investor. However, the children's immune was a big issue because we were going to do it obviously we were going to do it in gummies. And gummies right now, there's an issue with packaging. We don't want to use plastic. I will not use plastic. I mean, I'm going to die on that hill not using plastic.
Amen.
And which for capsules right now, chewables, there's a lot of different modalities that you can run with glass. The gummies we could put in glass. Some companies are running in glass, but we found out that if you put gummies in glass, in order to keep them from clumping and whatever, they have to coat the inside of the glass with a specific material that makes that glass not recyclable. And we're trying to do better for both people and the planet. So that was like a big no for me. There are they're calling them plastic free pouches that are plant based, but they're not truly. Like I went to the packaging expos all over the place, and they're saying it's plant based plastics, but it's still plastic. And I said, can I see the white paper on it? Sure enough, it's still, it's less of a plastic profile, but still is. um so I said, all right, we need to figure this out. We actually now have something figured out, which I can't really say
No,
yet, but it's something really
absolutely
great.
no.
But the investor that wanted to invest in the children's and invest in StayWell was going to throw down a lot of money, enough money that what we needed to do the entire raise, which was great. But his thing was, but I'm not going to wait for you to figure this out. And he's like, if we run in plastic right now, we have a deal. And he said, and then we could do new and improved and you could be plastic free. And I said, that's our entire mission statement for the company. And I wasn't going to go for it. So we left the money on the table and we walked
Yeah, I
away,
hear
which
you.
is really hard to do. But
Integrity in business. This is what we're talking about. This is
yeah,
phenomenal to hear, right? Because here's
it's
the thing.
not,
This was
it's terrible. I'm all
no,
kidding.
well, it's terrible, but it's amazing, right? Because this,
Yeah.
look, you guys you're still in business. You're still doing it. This
And
was a
now we
while
figured
ago.
out that problem because now what we're going to be launching the children's immune, um, because we took the time and we dove in and we've been innovating with a really cool company that is an innovator themselves. They have that they're the ones that we're getting the creatine from. I can't tell you too much about that, but it's patent protected and it is better absorption than anything on the market. They kind of helped me figure out a new delivery system. We're going to launch with the children's, but it's also that applications for it are across the board in a ton of other products. And we don't need to use plastic packaging. And it's different than anything anybody else is doing with our formula that Dr. Rahman helped create. Um, it's going to be better for absorption for children and for adults for what we're going to be doing. And we don't have to worry about plastic. So now we're in even better shape. So I'm happy I kind of walked away from that money and didn't take it because I would have, listen, when you're dealing with investors, I've dealt with investors my entire career, and I'll always defer to their judgment if it's a decision about finance, as long as it doesn't mess with the integrity of the product that we're creating. And with this is my baby. This, it's a labor of love. We're doing this to bring products to market to help people. That's first and foremost. Making money is second. And we can do both. Our margins are great. Like we could still make an investor a ton of money, but you have to trust the fact that the reason we're doing this is to help people. And that's first.
So, how much are you currently looking to raise?
So we're
The
currently
total?
looking to raise 1.5 million, which seems like a lot, but our margins are great. And so, for every 100,000 you spend in inventory, we're making 400 on that 100. So, if you do the math,
Sure, sure.
it's definitely
And
profitable.
and I and I will say
Our
firsthand.
our raw ingredients are expensive. The runs are expensive. So what an investor I think might like is the fact that they're investing in a tangible asset, right? Because if they're putting that money in and 750 of it is going towards inventory purchasing and the rest of it's going to marketing that inventory, their return should be swift.
So, and I will say also, because I had a close friend of mine um, do your valuation. Few friends do your valuation. Your valuation is justified, and we have the numbers to back that up. I know that you do.
Yeah.
And is there a minimum investment to get in? Because I mean,
So,
I know friends right now. If they may not be able to do 1.5, but I'm sure there's going to be
right,
a ton of people listening to this video, watching this video, who, if it was reachable,
right.
they would invest. I almost guarantee it.
So originally we were thinking like one investor because we wanted like an active partner and whatever. Then we kind of realized we don't need to do that. I mean, we can break it down and it's basically $1 per share, right? So if somebody wants to invest $10,000, they're still a partner, right? They still have shares, they have equity in the company, they have potential for future growth or for investing more after the first round. If they want to participate in the second, they can buy more shares and grow with us. So we were thinking, actually, after conversations with Mark, because Mark is my go-to for financial advice, along with a couple of other people, I kind of landed on the fact that we can do it um, with 10 people, 20 people, like instead of one person. And like you said, because there are more people that would want to participate and other people that would bring something else like to the equation, right? So it could be that somebody that's in marketing wants to invest and somebody that's, so it will just help the brand having more people as a part of it. So
Now, would you also consider, because a lot of investors for a startup that are going to come in sort of pre-seed, if you will, right? Early
mhm.
investors kind of want to come in and get out. So would you consider also, along with equity, would you also consider sort of a rev share type of situation,
Yeah,
temporary?
we just had that come up actually, and it was interesting. I didn't think anybody would be interested in doing it that way, but I would definitely be interested, especially for this first round, um, to do that and do a rev share. They get their money back in first position, 2-1 from us and whatever. Like, I think that would actually be great. So we are
And
looking
let
at
me just
that
and
direction.
I'll ask also. So I mean, you are doing some sales now, right? So it's not like you're sitting here with a dream. You're not
Yeah, so
dreaming.
we basically did a soft launch, right? So we haven't fully brought it to market. We didn't run any PR. We didn't run. So the money that we are raising right now is to spend on PR and marketing to blast out, the story and the products and the products that we have right now. And then that will translate to sales of right now, our inventory we have is retail $500,000 worth of inventory that I have. So we already have that value.
Ready to move now.
Yeah, ready to move right now. So if we sell that, which we will sell that, that's what we're raising the money for right now is for marketing and PR to clear that inventory and also to reorder inventory because we're afraid to clear it too quickly because we need money to reorder. So we just need to get cash flow positive. We need that cycle. So we need money for inventory now and then to run PR and marketing and we'll just keep flipping that inventory. So and ordering more. And then with that, also the development of the children's and the creatine and all the other things we want to pipe into that to the
Now, I
launch.
know that you're a super busy lady, and I know that you travel a lot. I think you're. I know recently you were in Vegas. You've been in the West Coast. You go to all these
Yeah. And we're
conventions.
leaving again. So supply side is one of the biggest raw material. It's where brands, raw material suppliers, and manufacturers all converge. And we learn about cutting edge ingredients and the best research and the new research and all of the studies. So it's like a nerd fest for people like me to go and just dive in and see what's new and what's best and what new ingredient I might find that nobody knows about yet. And that's actually next week. So
So
in
you are
Vegas.
traveling a lot.
Yes, I'll come back with even more.
All right, outstanding. And so, what's next on the horizon for StayWell? I know we're gonna get you a lot of money. So everybody
Yeah.
watching, get in touch with
And
Stacey, and I'll make sure
it's
that they
going to
know how
be
to get in touch
also
with you.
beyond supplements. So we're expanding to all things plastic free, toxin free. So shampoo, conditioner, body soap, dish laundry detergent, dish detergent, all of the things that people are using right now that are toxic in their homes. We're going to have an easy flip, an easy switch for them to buy.
Amazing. Amazing.
Yeah.
Wow.
So that's next on the horizon.
Oh my goodness gracious, this was full. I did not expect all this information. This was phenomenal. You got to do more of these.
Yes.
I think everyone needs to know about StayWell, needs to know about your products, but mostly, I think my takeaway is that you have a very, it's interesting. You have a familiar yet unique vision at the same time, and I think, and I'm proud to support what you're doing and StayWell.
Thank you, Mark.
And so I think that I think there's no issue with the continued success of StayWell.
Mm-hmm.
We're not just talking about an amazing product that has physical, emotional, mental benefit, direct benefit.
Mm-hmm.
And you all you got to do is look at testimonials of so many people, including myself. But there's also owner integrity, business integrity. So you're not selling your soul to anything.
Nope.
You're making sure that you stay on top of it.
This is like I'm at I'm in my 50s now. It's like legacy time, right? Like I've created products for people for years, some that I wasn't proud of, like that you had to do financially and whatever. Not that it was anything bad, but the plastic always bothered me. It always bothered me with using any ingredients that I didn't think were like top notch. And so now it's legacy time. Like I want to leave the world a better place and I want to make people healthy and help people. So, making money is great. We all need to do it. We need that for life, but you can make money doing the right thing or you can make money not doing the right thing. And so this is my legacy portion of my life where I care more about the integrity of the products. And yeah, making money is important. And we've sacrificed a lot the last 2 years to be self-funded. It's been really hard walking away from money offers, but we did that to make sure that it's going to be exactly how we need it to be. And now we're there. So now we're taking in investors because we've worked out all the kinks. We have manufacturing, we have like amazing partners, the medical director, like all of our ducks are now in a row, and now we're ready to like blast it out to the world.
Just a real quick recap question. How long before you started StayWell, how long were you in the supplement industry?
So I guess I have to show my age. More than 27 years. Yeah.
So we're not so everyone, we're not listening to
Since the
someone.
90s.
Okay, so
Literally.
you're not a Johnny come lately. You're not a Johnny come lately.
No. And it's funny because I wind up going back to the same 3 or 4 manufacturers. There's manufacturers all over the world, and I'm friends with people that are manufacturing in India and China and lovely people, but I wind up always just going back to the same tried and true because they are the best.
Good.
Right? So, when you have the best, you don't want to go elsewhere.
Mm-mm. And so from what you told us, your reason for the reason you use your doctor is the reason I so use my doctor. I mean, if Mark knows I'm a stickler for the health, so when he told me, I'm like, okay, I can depend on what he's saying. But hearing you it's such a breath of fresh air, to reiterate it. But my doctor, why I deal with her, is because she was an actual doctor, American Medical Association. She went to school, finished, got a license, and she was healing people too much at the hospitals, and they were giving her, grief about it. So she left and went back to holistic and acupuncture. And those are the kind of people that I like to deal with. Like, I'm an adjuster, and I can't just listen to a public adjuster who's never worked for a carrier. I can't just listen to an independent who's never worked. I need to hear from somebody who's been in both sides of the tracks. So it's really glad to hear that that's how you are with it too. And I'm going to get you in contact with my doctor because she keeps supplies her office.
Practitioners are my people. Because they get it and they're in the business of keeping people well and not in the business of treating sickness. Everybody, listen, cancer touches everyone. I know it's just one thing. Like part of the other reason is, look, I have autoimmune from a virus I got on a plane in back, a long, long time ago before I knew about Beta-Glucan. And if I had been taking it and my immune system was stronger then, I wouldn't have this ailment that I'll have the rest of my life, because I got it on a plane because I was run down. I was just coming off working and vacation and busy and had kids, and my immune system wasn't strong. And I didn't know about these things. So it's people with cancer, people with autoimmune cancer now, breast cancer. My best friend has breast cancer right now, and it's 1 in 8, but in some clusters it's 1 in 4. And everybody's like, well, what treatment? And is she going to do this? And is she going to do that? Well, why aren't we talking about what can we do to prevent it? Right? Get all the chemicals and toxins out of your house, get the plastic out of your life, build your immune system, eat clean, do the right thing so you don't get it. And doctors aren't really trained, and they're not preaching that. Nobody's preaching that, but holistic practitioners are. And that's why I'm a huge fan of them. But I wanted both for our medical director, because I didn't want people, and it's unfortunate that, again, this world that we're in with like black versus white, right versus left, pharma versus supplements, holistic practitioners versus medical doctors, which they all, most of them are. I hate that because people are dismissive right away. Oh, that's a nuts and berry granola doctor. That's not a real doctor. Yes, they are real doctors. They are.
Yeah.
And so, it was important for us to have somebody that could be the champion for our cause as our medical director, that was both, so it wouldn't be easily dismissed. And we're all right in the middle, like with everything. And it's health first, right?
Yeah.
And
and I'll just add to that, like the last thing I'll add to that, what you just said, which is very important. It's not so difficult. Part of the, and what I love about what you're doing, Stacey, is that you can get these 2 supplements and you just take them every morning when you get up, and you're pretty good. Most people are already eating pretty clean.
Or at night for relax. Like I have some people that take it religiously every night. I'm one of them because I'm an insomniac, and I swear I probably would have had a heart attack if not for relax in the last couple of years. But then there's other people with severe anxiety during the day. They take it during the day. It's like, and it's helping people. And then the big problem though is that the bigger companies, the large companies that are still running in plastic when they don't have to, I'll never understand that. I just won't.
The bottom line thing. It's
the bottom line thing,
it's
but
their investors.
if they're self-funded, 2 women like self-funded,
Yeah,
and we
man.
can afford to do it, they certainly can.
Of course they can.
Yeah.
They're choosing not to.
Well, with that, listen, I'd like to thank you both for your time and your expertise. And Stacey, my goodness, Stacey Lauridia, CEO of StayWell Global. You can find our products at staywellglobal.com.
Thank you, Mark.
You'll also find the link in the description, as well as links to her products directly. Anyone who's interested in investing, they can reach out directly to me through the description, or I'll leave a link where they can contact Stacey and her investor relations department. And I also like to thank Harold Marceling, CEO of All Things Insurance. And I can't wait to showcase you and what you got going on, brother, because I know one of the things about him, and I've heard this, and I've seen this, and I heard it, witnessed this myself. Everyone he meets, that when he goes and talks to his clients or the people he needs to do adjustments for or anything insurance, he makes sure that he educates, he empowers, he makes sure that there's a clear understanding of what's going on. So he's like the walking fine print. So
that's so great.
And so I'm very proud to know him. Again, this is the Spartan Standard podcast, part of Spartan Cafe social media platform. Anyone is interested, there'll also be a link directly underneath to the Spartan Cafe social media platform and app. We are specifically focused on finance, funding, no algorithms, no upsells. And with that, I'd like to say goodnight and thank you so much to both of you for joining us. And
thank you. And thank you, Harold. It was great speaking with both of you.
Oh, it was great finally getting with you and hearing all this, Stacey. More to come for sure.
Yes.
All right. Awesome.